Hey guys, how are you guys? I hope you guys are doing wonderful. It's been a long time. I really missed every single one of you, but I'm back at it again. Life events do happen, but today, I wanted to bring you guys some amazing information for those of you that are looking to live and work in the United Kingdom as a physiotherapist, an occupational therapist, a speech and language therapist, a radiographer, or biomedical scientist. So, this video is for you. Stay tuned. So, in today's video, I wanted to talk about one of the fastest ways in which you can come and live and work in the United Kingdom as a physiotherapist or occupational therapist. So, as far as it goes, you guys know that the UK has so kindly opened their borders, especially for skilled immigrants and other immigrants, to be fair. But my specialty is in giving you lots and lots of information if you're a physiotherapist or occupational therapist on how you can come to live and work in the United Kingdom. So, this video will talk about one of the fastest ways that you can come to live and work in the United Kingdom if you're living outside of the UK at the moment. So, the most important thing, or the number one way that you can come to live and work in the United Kingdom is by coming as an occupational therapy or physiotherapy assistant. Yes, you heard that right. You can apply for jobs as an occupational therapist or physiotherapy assistant through the regular job sites like on Google, on Indeed, on NHS websites. And once you've had your interview, because you already have those skills, you stand a higher chance of basically getting a job as an occupational therapist or physiotherapist if you've already got a degree, a bachelor's degree or a diploma in those courses from your home country, whether you be in Ghana or Nigeria or Tanzania or South Africa. The fact that you already have a diploma or that you already have a previous degree in occupational therapy or physiotherapy basically is going to give you an advantage to apply for a job as an occupational therapy assistant or physiotherapy assistant through the NHS website or on Google. So once you've applied for the jobs, if the employers really like you, if they shortlist your application, the next phase would be to do the interview with you. And if they like you, they're going to give you a job offer. And after the job offer, the next thing would be basically giving you a certificate of sponsorship. That certificate of sponsorship basically says that now that you can legally come to work and live in the United Kingdom, and with the certificate of sponsorship, you will take that certificate to then apply for your tier 2 skilled worker visa. So that's one avenue that you can come to the UK as a physiotherapist or occupational therapist. That's one fire way to come to the United Kingdom. The other way, like I've talked about in my other videos, don't forget to check out my other videos, is basically if you're already a physiotherapist in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Zimbabwe, Tanzania, or South Africa, or wherever you might be in the world, another way that you can apply to come to live and work in the UK is basically through applying for the Tier 2 sponsorship visa. So, as long as you have your Healthcare Professions Council registration, so the Healthcare Professions Council, they're basically the regulatory body for allied health professionals in the United Kingdom. So, if you're thinking of coming to live and work in the United Kingdom as a physiotherapist, occupational therapist, or speech and language therapist, I would highly recommend that you start your application with the Healthcare Professions Council first. Once you've cleared your application with the Healthcare Professions Council, then you can move on to the next stage of applying for jobs and then also getting your certificate of sponsorship. But for those of you that are not very patient or you really want to come to the UK and you can't seem to wait, you want to do all the steps when you get in the UK, then the first option that I talked about would be for you, where you can apply for jobs as either a healthcare assistant or a physiotherapy assistant or occupational therapy assistant or clinical support worker. So, because you already have those clinical skills, you stand a very high chance of getting a job in the healthcare field. One advice that I would give to you is make sure that you apply, apply, apply. You need to apply for as many job openings as possible. Remember, the battle is not to the swift or the race to the fast, but it's also unto God. But you need to put the effort in to make sure that you apply for all those jobs as much as you can, because you never know. You have to sow sparingly so that you can also reap sparingly. You never know which one is going to click. So my pro tip would always be to make sure that you apply, apply, apply for as many jobs as you can. So I've talked about the first option, which is applying as a physiotherapy assistant, an occupational therapy assistant, or a healthcare support worker. That's one way to apply for a skilled immigrant visa if you're a physiotherapist, occupational therapist, a radiographer, or biomedical scientist looking to come to work and live in the United Kingdom. That's a faster way, a shorter way of you doing that. The second way that I've just talked about right now is basically applying for your healthcare professions council registration. So you can go on Google and type in Healthcare Professions Council, and they are the regulatory body for physiotherapy and occupational therapy and allied health professions in the United Kingdom. So once you type that in, it's going to take you to their website, and then you can see how you can apply as an international physiotherapist or occupational therapist or speech and language therapist or radiographer to come to the UK to live and work as a highly skilled immigrant. So those are two ways that I've talked about that you can actually come to the United Kingdom to live and work. So the next option that I'm going to talk about is for those of you also that have already had previous degrees in your country. It doesn't matter what degree, if you already have a bachelor's degree in your home country, if it's in the sciences, then it's so much more better. If you already have a first degree, maybe in these professions as a physiotherapist, occupational therapist, radiographer, speech and language therapist in your country, then you have a great advantage. The next way that I will talk about of how you can come to live and work in the UK is basically going online and looking for schools, universities that are offering MSc programs. So universities that are offering facilitated MSc or master's programs. So if you already have a bachelor's or a degree in any field, or especially in the science field or the fields that I've already mentioned, you can definitely go and look on the websites of universities that offer a master accelerated or facilitated master's program for physiotherapist or occupational therapy or radiography in the United Kingdom. So once you go to those universities, one thing I have to highlight is to be able to do this, you need to already have a previous degree, because this aspect is going to be like a 2 year or 1 year, very very intensive education for you to be able to get a master's degree in physiotherapy or occupational therapy. Maybe in the future, I would invite one of my very good friends that did the Masters of Occupational Therapy. She's now an occupational therapist, but she had her previous first degree in psychology. So it doesn't really matter what you have your first degree in. The most important thing with this route is basically you need to have a degree already to be able to go to the next step, because it's quite intensive and it's very fast tracked. So I know that I think Manchester University, Cumbria University, like I would suggest that you look at universities that are outside of London on Google. Make Google your best friend so that you can find out all the requirements that they need for you to be able to apply for this accelerated program. So I know that you need to have at least 400 to 800 clinical hours, maybe from your previous college degree or your college experience, you need to have at least 400 to 600 clinical hours. But not to worry, even if you don't have that, I'm sure the university will be able to tell you how you can go about getting those hours. My recommendation would be basically you can actually start doing some clinical observation time. So if you're already a physiotherapist or occupational therapist, you're working in your home country, you can get like one of your mentors, like your seniors in the field, to write you a letter to the end that you are actually employed in so and so facility. You're working at this maximum hours per week. So all those things would be evidence for you to help you to get your foot in the ladder. So another thing that I would recommend is maybe going to volunteer at a physiotherapy firm or occupational therapy firm in your home country, because as you go to volunteer, then you're also building up your clinical hours. Even though they're not paying you, those hours, if your employees would agree, they would be able to write you a letter to say that you've done X amount of hours, 600 hours, 400 hours, but make sure they are legitimate, because the healthcare professions, they're going to double check to make sure that you did do those things. You don't want to get yourself into a bind. So another thing that you would definitely need would be IELTS, especially if you're coming from countries like Ghana or Nigeria. Those countries, especially because they don't like consider that our English is like the Queen's English. Excuse my English, but you have to do IELTS. So the IELTS, basically, you cannot get less than a 6.5 on the IELTS. You have to get at least 7 on speaking, 7 on listening, and 7 on reading. So be prepared for all those things, because these are some of the requirements that would enable you to be able to apply as an international student into a facilitated master's program for physiotherapy or occupational therapy. So another thing that I wanted to talk about is the fact that one of the main deterrents of this like accelerated program is the fact that if you don't already live in the United Kingdom, you will not be considered a home student. So you will be considered as an international student. The downside of that is that you have to pay your own fees, and the fees can range anywhere between 15,000 to 20,000 to do the payment for the master's program. So that can be like a really, really big deterrent to most people. So what most people end up doing is they might apply for a job as a healthcare assistant, a physiotherapy assistant, or occupational therapy assistant. And then once they come into the UK legally, they're working, then they might pursue accelerated master's degree online. So you could be working while you're also going to school. The beauty about the master's program, most of them offer online education. So you might not need to go to the university, but you have to make sure you do all your coursework. You have to attend at least 20 hours during the semester on your course. So it can be quite intensive, because if you're already working, that's taking a lot of your time. So you need to consider some of these things. Is it something that you will be able to do? So another thing is basically the fact that most times this accelerated program will require you to be present in the United Kingdom. But the good news is that as a student, you will still be allowed to work at least 20 hours, like I think a week. So the good news is that you can be making some money, but remember that it can be quite difficult. It can be quite difficult because you're working, you're studying intensively for this like master's program that would lead you to getting a job of your dreams. So you have to be mentally, physically, you have to be financially, every way, you have to be prepared in every way to be able to make this dream a reality, if that's what you really, really want. Another thing is that they're going to give you an elective placement. So the elective placement means that you can go anywhere or any country of your choice to have this clinical placement, which is a good thing. So if you're someone that loves adventure, you're looking for something new or any new things, you can opt to go back to your home country maybe, or you can opt to do it somewhere wonderful where you can learn about the culture, the skills of the people. So I've just given you in a nutshell some of the quickest ways that you can come to the UK to live and work as a physiotherapist, an occupational therapist, a radiographer, maybe a biomedical scientist, or a speech and language therapist. So in a nutshell, the first way is applying for a skilled worker visa or applying for jobs as a healthcare assistant, physiotherapy assistant, or occupational therapy assistant, just to get your foot in the door to come into the United Kingdom. And once you've come into the United Kingdom and you're working, then you can start applying or doing more research to find out how you can upgrade yourself to the next level or how you can get your registration with the Healthcare Professions Council. So one thing I need to highlight to you guys is the fact that if you're working as a healthcare assistant, a physiotherapy assistant, or occupational therapy assistant, at the moment, I know for a fact that you don't have to be registered with the Healthcare Professions Council. So you can basically get a job, get your certificate of sponsorship, you can be working and making money. And then once you're here in the UK, you're getting used to the lifestyle and everything, then you can start progressing and making progress to find out how you can now get your professional registration and how you can move to the next level of actually practicing your profession in the United Kingdom. So once again, I'm Grace. I'm your sister Grace. I'm a physical therapist. I love to help, encourage, motivate people. I want to see all my African brothers and sisters thriving, especially for those of you that want to live and work in the United Kingdom as a physiotherapist, occupational therapist, speech and language therapist. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Of course, if you have any questions that I will be able to help you with, I want you to leave your questions in the comment section. I don't know everything, but as far as I know, I will definitely guide you so that you can make your dreams a reality. I want us to all level up together. I want us to all thrive together. Have a wonderful day, your girl, Grace.